All right, Warriors, Patriots, and Preppers. A little bit of an update on what we got going on here, and then a little bit of talking about kind of the current state of affairs. Very interesting numbers put out by the White House today, talking about they're anticipating anywhere from 100,000 to 250,000 deaths. If you don't think that's going to be a death blow to the economy in terms of consumer confidence and a shockwave sent throughout the markets, then you're not paying attention. You're already kind of seeing the Dow dip a little bit because of that. Not anywhere near the 2008 numbers yet, but I think that's only a matter of time before it happens. You're looking at anywhere from April 30th to I've seen as far as June 4th in some models for cities talking about how long they anticipate the stay-at-home orders to stay in effect. Trump's already talking about a second stimulus package that's going to lead to devaluing the dollar, and you're seeing wild news stories from them tracking you on your phone. So on our Instagram, I recommended that everybody go get a burner phone if they don't have one already, and you plan on having a little bit more privacy during this lockdown. Obviously, a ton of liberties being lost right now, and we all have to make our own choices in terms of how we treat this pandemic and what we're worried about in terms of our safety. My mom and I are very close, and I'm around her a lot. We go to her house a lot. We're very dependent upon each other too, and I'm trying to do a lot of risk mitigation. And I know I've talked about it before, but Operation Black Horse is in effect. You guys could go and check that out. Very, very good ideas, in my opinion, to help you reduce your risk of getting infected. Also, we're looking at maybe taking the homeschool thing a little step further and making sure that we really just focus on bringing some normalcy to our lives. If the school and all that, for my oldest, the school and everything is not going to be putting a priority on getting them back. I'm not going to be spending endless hours hammering on these kids to get their schoolwork done for the school. We're going to turn in what we can turn in. We're going to dedicate a certain amount of time to it every day, but we're going to try to provide what type of normalcy we can and not going to create a stressful environment for ourselves. If they ended up, my oldest, I think, is in but he's in high school, so I'm a little more worried about him than I am my two younger ones. I don't think they're going to fail out of second grade and fifth grade over this virus. I think they're just, whatever work we could get in and done and turn in, then we're doing that. 3 different curriculums that we would create would be a whole lot different thing than 3 different curriculums that the teachers are mandating or asking that the kids complete and get done. Isn't really working for us right now because these teachers, I believe that they're in the mind frame of just their class. They're not taking into account that there might be multiple kids and multiple grade levels in some of these homes. I've seen a couple teachers dial back the amount of work that they're asking the kids to complete, and we're still barely getting into this, so I'm going to give them a little bit of a leeway before I start, firing off some emails. But you got to make your own plans right now. And with this economy and the way this thing's going, you have to start looking out for yourself and your own plans. You got to start thinking about what bills you want to pay, what bills you're not going to pay, how much debt you could get out of, or how much income you could create in alternative means and alternative ways, because it's going to get real sticky and it's going to get real weird. And even if this virus doesn't end up causing the amount of deaths that the White House is projecting now, the amount of turmoil we're going to have in this economy and with people going back to work is very, very real. We're trying to quarantine at home, and one of the steps that we're doing, and I think you should all start doing this right now, is we're trying to maximize what space we have available to grow our own food. I bought some chickens on the online. I went to Tractor Supply Store to pick up some. They didn't have the ones I wanted. They recommended going online and ordering some, so I did. I already have the chicken coop, so it's something I'm looking forward to doing. But with this downtime, if you're not at work, we should be looking at ways to become more self-sustainable and less dependent on people for our food. Because I definitely think, and you're starting to see some information coming out on this, that there's going to be a bit of a hiccup on the supply line and with the food. I've already noticed a lack of quality control And I don't know if it's because of low staffing, or maybe they're working them a little bit more hours, or that they're just trying to rush this food to the shelves. But the quality has definitely gone down a bit. I got a package of chicken, and we froze a bunch of beef, froze a bunch of chicken. But I went to go get a fresh pack of chicken, and I got it home, and it was bad. The chicken was bad. It was spoiled. It was for whatever reason it looked fine, but it did not smell right. It was nasty. It turned. It was not edible. So that was about $12 out the window. So I think you're going to see that as these companies rush to get food out. I mean, we had a string, if you guys remember, not too long ago, a string of food sicknesses all across the country coming directly from the plants. So that's something that you might ramp up now, as these people are put in a position to be worked way more hours than they're used to, or they're rushing the production through at a quicker rate than they're used to doing. The quality control is going to go down. So be very, very mindful of that, because getting sick right now and going to a hospital, especially depending on where you live, is going to be one of the more dangerous things to do. So we all got to keep that in mind. Also, too, this is a great opportunity for you guys. Bugging in has obviously been a little bit stranger than we thought it would be, right? You'll see a lot of people complaining all across the board about, oh, I'm so bored, I'm so this, I'm so that. The grid's completely up. So if you're planning for a grid down or maybe a natural disaster, in our area we had a pretty bad thunderstorm come through, and it left 7,000 people without power for about 2 days. So you're on this, we're probably about 3 weeks here into our lockdown, and then you had a 2-day power outage on top of that. Nightmare scenario. We've also seen earthquakes. There's a swarm of earthquakes happening all over Idaho, Colorado, Nevada, California, so Utah. So you're seeing, I think it was 650 earthquakes, a big swarm of them. So if there's a major, major disaster on top of this stay-at-home lockdown order, you got to think about your area and what other risks are there to you and how you can mitigate those now. So one thing we're doing is, obviously the quarantine and bugging was a little bit harder. So we're thinking about all these other risks, all these other things that might come up. Like tonight we're going to practice doing camp out, just a backyard camp out. That's something you could do now, just to kind of get yourself a little acclimated, get the kids a little acclimated, because we all have these bug out plans, right? How bad would a bug out plan be? If your bug in plan is annoying you, getting on your nerves, you're finding it a little bit hard to deal with all the downtime, and the kids are getting restless, the kids are getting bored. I mean, I feel like a bug out situation, you're going to have to be doing more work, so maybe it doesn't lean towards the type of boredom there is, but the type of confusion and the type of anxiety that comes with getting along to getting acclimated to a new situation is going to be different for people. So you got to really, really make sure that if you have opportunity to go in your backyard, get the kids involved, get them out there. If you don't have kids, and just even for yourself, just practice your camping skills, practice how you're going to do your setup, where your cook area is going to be, where your wash area is going to be, how the sleeping arrangements are. I mean, for kids, just sleeping outside could be a scary thing. So if they've never done it before, and it's the first time that you're going to have them sleep outside because we had to bug out, that's not going to be a good plan. So during this downtime, if you're choosing to isolate or stay at home a little bit more, implement some of these things that you've been wanting to implement. This is the perfect time to do so. I'm encouraging everybody more than anything to take advantage of the time we have now to do the things that we've wanted to do. So tonight, like I mentioned, we're going to do a backyard camp out. I've had the kids, we're all doing fitness little workouts together and stuff. It's one thing I wanted to work on the kids with. It's us all kind of working out together. So we've been doing that, making sure that we really utilize our time to also kind of bond and work on the family dynamic. And keep in mind, this is no one's fault. So if the economy gets bad, money starts becoming a bad issue, or maybe it already was a bad issue and it's only going to get worse now, you got to be really, really careful about how we interact with people, making sure that we're bringing a positive attitude forward and not causing turmoil and fights over money. And now that might be a hard thing for some people, but it really has to be something that you focus on right now, because I think with all this other confusion and chaos going on, it's not going to be beneficial to be having fights about stuff that you don't have any control over. Just do your best, guys. Stay prepared. Think about the work that you could do to stay ahead of this curve.